Hi,
Hello.
I'm Julian.
And I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We're here to talk about Widow's Bay. This is episode 10 of the first season. This is a finale, Tom. And we just got finished watching it, so we're going to go through it. And, you know, the title of the episode says it all. We hope you've enjoyed your time. And boy, golly gee, have we. Tom, did you enjoy your time at Widow's Bay?
Oh man, what a delight of a season of television. And this finale I thought was just aces. I love the way it set it all up. I love the constant, like, Ruth is in the best shape of her life kind of bits that we get in the beginning. It's so great. And yeah, I mean, this is what a finale should be. I love this show so much.
Yes, this TV show is built like Ruth, just sprightly, just uplifting. Hopefully it never dies, you know, and it didn't in this episode of television, surprisingly, which I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll get into it. Tom, before we jump into all of it, give us the synopsis from Apple, please.
We understand that hard choices had to be made, and we may never be the same, but we hope you'll visit again.
I love it. I love it so much. And I think we got news, or maybe we were behind the ball, but this show got renewed. Katie Dippold, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, marked up an agreement with Apple to do, I think, multiple seasons and have like a writing contract with them, which is all great news. So
Love to hear that.
you know, as I went into this one, I was like, okay, they've got to keep it open for a season 2. How am I going to feel about... And I think the show is different if it's like, hey, one season, we're going to wrap it all up here, or we've got to wrap up a season and lead to another season. And I got to be honest, I think they did a lovely job. There were parts of this episode... I got to be honest, this one was more like serious and not necessarily scary, but serious and suspenseful than funny.
Yes.
Although, as it continues to do, there were several times that I found myself laughing aloud with my spouse and stuff that I rewound to listen to again because the side comment or whatever was so great.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's a little bit of comedy, especially with the two different types of tea. I feel like that's where I probably laughed the loudest when
Sure.
Tom was wanting to backtrack to the other one. But yeah, definitely very much heavy in the suspense and yeah, not a lot of jump scares or there's no like central haunt here. We're still kind of dealing with the craziness of the storm. But man, I just loved the way it introduced a handful of more extra things like with Dale's little adventure, with the shenanigans going down in the basement, just brilliant. It just made me want more of season 2 immediately.
What I think is interesting about the show is, as I'm digesting it, because we literally just got done watching it, it's like they revealed a lot. They brought more history of the island and some documented history. We see those films. But in truth, you know, how many people are actually been brought into the weirdness of the island? The majority of the crowd rabble-rousing in this bunker is still pretty ignorant of the haunt and what's happening. But now Dale understands what's happening. Rosemary, you could argue, was brought into it, but truly just doesn't care. Rosemary is my spirit animal. I just want to be Rosemary. She is unaffected in so many ways. But now Bashir, the sheriff, is in.
Ooh,
and maybe Evan, Evan has obviously seen something he can't explain, although he's been tripping on that marijuana. You know, he's been drunk on that marijuana so much that maybe he won't remember any of this. But I think it's interesting. They've given us so much more lore, but in terms of the cast, they haven't expanded. I think it's different if, everyone in the island is all of a sudden in on what's going on. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, I like how Ruth kind of gave the backstory and her, acceptance, essentially, of the island. But now we kind of have our main cast of characters that we've had the whole season kind of become all on board. So it really opens it up for maybe more Dale episodes or Rosemary episodes, things like that in the next season.
Yeah, we've got our own Widow's Bay Avengers, essentially, which I think,
Exactly.
as I recall, is a group of people that get together and run around and may or may not murder old women. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen those movies. But let's dive into this one. Let's break it down, Tom. I just wrote down, because I was remembering, the pentultimate, what we were rolling into. It's Tom off to kill Ruth. Let's do it. And I did watch the recap. The recap was very nice to remind us that Richard Warren had to send it with 9 fingers and a brooch. And I think we clocked in the last episode, they were more focused on the 9 fingers. And in this episode, they very much rewarded the audience sleuths with, hey, the brooch did come into play, which I appreciated.
Right.
And we obviously get to spend a lot of time with Ruth Livingston and Storms. I appreciate the emails reaching out, letting us know how many of our audience's family members were taken by storms, were killed by storms. Some people, I guess, they were fathered by storms. I don't really know how that works. But we appreciate those emails that came in letting us know we should be afraid of storms because I was so careless with my, I guess, fake courage about storms. So obviously we start with Tom has left the, town hall and the storm shelter. I thought this was a very smart move. He goes to the doctor's office, and maybe this is just him looking for an easy out. But he goes to her medical records, Ruth's, and I appreciate all the handwritten notes like, oh, she's very healthy. She's the healthiest 83-year-old woman that we find later in the entire world.
And as he's looking through the charts, it's like, come on, cancer, cancer, cancer. And he's just trying to find a scapegoat, which I appreciated. This is a smart move by Tom.
Yeah, he was allowing nature or God to handle Ruth for him. And instead, he's realizing slowly that he's going to have to handle it. I was waiting to clock whether or not the medical record said that Ruth was, 17 or something like that,
right.
Much like Shep in the first episode. But what we do find out is there's some medication that we shouldn't combine. And Tom, you and I are on record multiple times. We are not doctors, so I'm not going to claim whether or not this is true. You're not allowed to mix medication. I mix medication all the time, and I'm fine. In fact, sometimes I mix it with booze. And I feel actually sometimes better when I do that. So,
well, is booze one of the medications that you're mixing? Is
no,
that considered?
No.
Okay.
2 pills in 1 glass.
Okay.
That could have been my high school band. But anyways, so he drives over to Ruth's house. He's outside. I do like I think a radio in a storm with static is always a good storytelling device because you can cut it out. There can be miscommunication. It's suspenseful. And they go to that a couple of times during this episode with him trying to talk to Patricia, who is playing his conscience via the radio.
Yeah, Patricia's saying, you don't have to do it. And then we get a half a beat. And then Wick is saying, yes, you do, in the background. So good.
So good. So good. He enters the house. And I had this thought. As he entered the house, and it's kind of like a typical old person home, decorated, very refined, a lot of like old dishes that no one wants to inherit when you die. And I thought to myself, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the choice was made easy for him and Ruth was like evil? Like, what if she was in the house right now pulling a Richard Warren, like all possessed and like surrounded by dead animals? But no, the show's not that kind to Tom. The show is actually quite mean to Tom. Ruth is treadmilling, as one does at 83.
Well, the way the show sets it up is so brilliant because they make us think that as an audience, and it has like heavy breathing of her. So
Sure.
like we're coming into the kitchen or wherever it was, and like you think, yes, maybe she is like demonic and she's possessed, but no, she's just breathing on a treadmill. Just finished 2 miles. Just brilliant. I love how we just keep like layering on the levels of how awesome Ruth is and how she's like just built like an ox.
Right, and the hope that Tom has of like, oh, maybe this will be easier, or maybe I won't have to do it, ultimately to come to the realization that this is all going to fall on him. I know she said 2 miles, but I think she was at like a 90% incline, Tom. I think she was, that's why she was breathing heavy. It was the incline, not the distance.
Yeah, probably true.
But I love just like perfect... nice old lady. She's like, oh, I thought you forgot about me. You came to bring me to the shelter. She's just
all these
the
guilt
sweetest.
trips.
Yeah, so sweet. And then to run up those stairs, just Incredible. I was like, I don't think that's a body double either. I think that actress in real life was sprinting up those stairs. So good.
She kind of clocks it later, but I want to bring it up here. She says this thing about, like, we've weathered storms before, haven't we, kind of a thing with Tom, which I thought that was very, very interesting because, again, she seems to understand, like, the craziness of this island, even though she's had no in-depth conversations with Tom. I love their back and forth throughout this whole sequence.
Well, I think you could put her in the category of like a Rosemary, right? Someone who has lived here, like witnessed all these horrors, and just accepts it as life and is not like involved in how do we solve this or what's the lore or where does it come from. I had this conversation with my kid the other day where I was like, hey, do you have a dialogue running in your head? Like, is there a voice that when we're not talking, like talks? And my kid was so confused. And I was like, oh no, do I have a kid that just has circus music playing in their head while nothing's going on? And then we eventually got to, yes, there was an inner dialogue. I relate to this. I think there are two people on this island. There are people that can look around and be like, hey, something's weird. And then there's the people that are just like, it's weird, but there's nothing we can do about it. This is just life. In fact, this is the only life I've known, because if you grew up on the island and you never left it, you don't really know what normal looks like.
Very true.
It doesn't feel like these people spend a lot of time on Reddit or MySpace or Friendster looking at people's pictures of how normal life goes. So, I would put Ruth and Rosemary in that same category. But we cut back to the shelter. We've got Patricia, Wick, Rosemary handing out MREs and water and trying to keep people calm. Tom, would you rather be the one that's got to go kill the old woman, or would you rather be the one that has to deal with the unruly mob where you're handing them MREs that are probably 40 years old? They're probably like left over from World War II, so sea rations as well as some canned water. And this was not like, what's the death by water or whatever. This isn't cool water. This is government issued water, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be... I mean, the initial thought is like, yes, he's going to go to, or not Rosemary's, but he's going to go to Ruth's, and it's going to be a easy-ish job that he's going to convince himself, or she's going to say something that allows him to just be okay with it. But she does none of it. So I don't think I would want to be the one going to Ruth's house. I'll be in this bunker cowering with everybody else.
I love the fact that you're like, oh, it seems like an easy job to murder an old woman, but once you look her in her eyes and realize she has a soul and has lived a life and wants to keep living, makes it a little bit more tough. So yeah, I'd rather deal with the unruly mob. I love that. I love that you had that realization.
Once we get to the trolley problem later, like, oh man, Ruth's reaction to the trolley problem was just so poetic and brilliant. Like, I know I've seen this in other shows. I feel like The Good Place, that show, did a trolley problem kind of segment, but this show I thought did it so incredibly well, and Ruth is amazing.
Sure. I mean, my solution to the trolley problem is, how do you speed it up? You know, how do you get that trolley really going? You know, I'm trying to get it to go max speed.
You pull over the other direction. Yeah, does that accelerate the trolley?
No. I just wanted to go fast when it runs over the people. It's not difficult. Anyways, the people that are making a difficult choice right now are the sheriff and his wife. What did you take of the medical charts in the shelter? It's like animal bites, human bites, insect bites. Like, what did you gather from all the information on the walls in this shelter?
I assume, so yeah, you have the bites poster, which ends with human bites, which is odd in and of itself. And then there's the other poster.
Unless you're a kindergarten teacher, then it's pretty normal. You got to be wary of all those human bites at like ankle height or shin height, sure.
All fair. But there's like another poster for like how to subdue somebody, which was also very weird to be able to have in like the shelter. But I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. It's a practical thing for a shelter. But like, I feel like later on when Ruth is talking about people that she had been with or something, she mentioned something about maybe somebody getting bit and then him becoming an animal. So I'm wondering if this is almost teasing like a werewolf or zombie style haunt next season.
Are you talking about? I think his name was Alfred. Got bit by an animal, turned into an animal. Is that who you happen to be talking about, Tom?
That's the one. Yeah, the one that raised Batman.
We'll hit that later when we're going through the photo album. But this. I did start to wonder, like, hey, has no one ever gone down in this basement before? Because we're discovering a lot of things for the first time that...
Well, if you ask Rosemary, she's like, hey, the person before me said, don't come down here. And like, oh, now I know why.
Now I know why. That was such a good line. I missed it, and my spouse was dying laughing, and I was like, what? And she's like, oh, she said she knows. And I was like, what? And I had to rewind it because it happened so quick. But, oh, it was so good. It was so good. I love the doctor who continues just to be number one medical student in all of, I don't know, Harvard Medical School. He's like, oh, it's a false alarm. Everything's fine. Bashir, can I talk to you outside? Walks outside. This baby's coming tonight. So definitely just lied to the primary patient in order to tell the husband the baby's coming tonight. And he uses the same exact line. Anytime someone doubts him, he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you went to medical school, which is exactly, I'm pretty sure, his retort earlier in the season. So I was a little bit afraid that the guy that plays the doctor is also the guy in the government videos, just like a younger version, but I dispelled that rumor upon continuing to watch the episode. But he gave me a very similar vibe as someone who is poorly trying to just assure people everything is going to be okay.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup meal at McDonald's is underway with one of 9 legendary cups in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine Yamal, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Son Heung-min, Alphonso Davies, Santi Jimenez. And between the posts, it's Grimace. Get one of 9 collectible cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot make your email response time faster. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you find space for your 3 desk drinks. Why do you have 3? And while we can't help you find the perfect volume for your presentation video, LinkedIn can help you find the perfect audience for your business. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/smallbusiness.
We go back to Tom and Ruth, and I love the detail of this show. He's looking at the calendar. I was like, oh, it's such a full calendar. And then he goes, that's a very full calendar, Ruth. And there's a picture of Evan, Tom's son, there. And we find out that every day she helps an older woman, Deandra Kane, walk. I love this so much.
Oh, yeah, just the piling on of how much of a saint she is and, like, making this choice that much more difficult for Tom is just poetry. It's comedic gold. I loved it.
Well, and also, we've seen her do stairs. She's helping Deidre Kane with the stairs, and so she's just the stair champion. And also, this reminds me of when we did trivia, and Ruth was the one that needed a ride to work, and she's like, the mornings are the hardest. Considering all that she did for Deidre Kane, Tom, and I'm saying this to Mayor Tom, you couldn't have picked Ruth up every once in a while? I mean, she's sacrificing so much for other people. What a terrible mayor this guy is.
Yes, maybe this is what she was doing when she was leaving the office at like 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe she was going to help this lady up and down the stairs.
You think instead of napping, she was just being a good citizen? That would be good. That's fair. Tom realizing that, much like you, Mayor Tom is realizing this is going to be a much more difficult job to murder this woman who's living a full life. He goes to the bathroom and he starts sorting through the medical cabinet. Tom, this is like a showism, going through people's medical cabinets or I'm sorry, medicine cabinets. Have you ever been in someone's house and spent any time like opening the mirrored cabinet and looking at what they've been prescribed?
Oh, it's the first thing I do when I go to anybody's house. Yeah, I had a play date with one of my kids' friends from school. They'd say, "Hey, where's your bathroom?" No, not the guest bathroom. Where's your master bathroom?
And then you bring the pill bottle down to the kid, and you're like, "What are you doing with this? What are you doing with Oxy, kid?" And the parent's like, "I think you need to leave." Like, what is going on here? You don't get invited back for many second play dates, huh?
Yeah, my kid's pretty lonely.
And it's all your fault. It's all your fault for going through people's medicine cabinets. But I think you find some good stuff here, right?
We do find. Now, I want to clock this because I felt like this was weird. When Tom is like on the walkie, is seemingly trying to get some sort of permission or see how Evan is doing. Like, as he's talking, there's like a scream in the distance.
Yep.
And is this Rue? I thought it was Rue screaming and they were going to go back and she was going to be passed out on the couch or something like that. But I don't know what to take of this. What were we supposed to... What was the scream? Who was the scream?
I don't know. This is a haunted island where people are dying. Like, I don't know. It was just maybe the island screamed. Maybe it was from the storm. I mean, maybe it was the shaman who's still, like, tripping up there with the great spirit in the sky. That was so his scream. I don't know.
He caught a walkie-talkie somewhere up in the tornado, and now he's enjoying this conversation.
Well, I didn't think the scream came through the walkie. I thought the scream was just kind of ambient. This might be an island where the ambient noise is just people screaming during storms. I don't know.
But nobody clocks it. Like, Tom doesn't clock it. It never seems to come back. It's just weird. Like, we have gotten other things where, like, either the radio is playing or other sort of walkie-talkie kind of shenanigans going on. So maybe it's just something in the radio waves that is just there.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely clocked the scream. What I do want to point out is that Ruth is worried about her herb garden, which they started talking about herbs, and then we're making tea, and I'm like, oh no, is the mushroom going to come into play? But we found there's two types of teas, Tom.
There's what Tom ultimately chooses, which is the calm and soothing tea, but unbeknownst to him, it takes 37 minutes to brew or steep or whatever, and then him trying to backtrack and say, no, I want the 3-minute one. I want the 3-minute one was so great.
Those of you that drink hot brown water for, I guess, your leisure, please let us know at teambingepodcast@gmail.com if there is truly a type of tea that takes 37 minutes to steep or brew or whatever it is. This was so funny. I love the idea of, in the midst of all of this, what is happening in the show, the murdering, the haunts, like, they still take the time to do something we've all done where, like, someone has offered something and we have chosen the wrong one, and it has been like a great inconvenience. Like, oh, what restaurant you want to go to, here are your choices, and you happen to pick the one that's like 45 minutes away and it's going to take forever. Like, I don't know. That was a bad analogy. That's never happened to me before. But I just love that, like, in this moment, it was like a social decision that went poorly that Tom is now bothered by. And I know it comes to play because he's trying to murder this woman, but I don't know. I thought it was just a great moment and something we could all somewhat relate to, just in terms of when you've made the bad choice in a social situation.
Yeah, and it's just a clever showism, right? Because they need this scene to be able to go on. We need Ruth to give him a tour of the house and to go through her old albums and, like, to drag this out. Like, it was such a brilliant story writing piece.
Right, and you thought the ticking time bomb was going to be the pregnancy, but it's not the pregnancy. It's the little white egg timer that she's got above her stove that she set to 37 minutes. And it's just so great in terms of TV writing. And it also leads her to be like, now that the tea is being seeped, brewed, whatever, I can give you the house tour, because Tom is apparently, despite this woman working for the city for conservatively 100 years, she's never had the mayor in her house, and I thought this was great.
That's what I loved about this whole scene and episode of them, like, essentially connecting, because it seems like Tom has never taken the time to connect with her, and had he done so, like, would have known so much more about this woman's life, which was fascinating and beautiful.
I agree. I totally agree. Let's go back to the shelter, though, where Patricia is handing out blankets, and she finds this blanket note that says, "If you're reading this, I'm already dead." Why is this so funny? I don't know.
It was, I mean, we don't really know it yet, but I'm assuming, is this from one of the sacrificial victims? Like, they were taken down to this place in the bunker, so they wrote this note and then realized that somebody found it. They were already dispatched of? I don't know.
Oh, I assume so. And the best part about it is they didn't write their name. They just, like, what they got out was, if you're reading this, I'm already dead.
That's it.
You're like, did we not get a name on this? Or maybe we did. Well, was there writing on the outside? Maybe I just didn't clock the name. But there's definitely, I would have signed, Julian, full name, the third of my line on the last note that I was ever going to have another human being read,
Well, I guess the real question is, what were in those MREs? Were they like Chinese meals MREs where you get like a fortune cookie at the end? Could this be a fortune cookie?
Was this a
we don't know.
fortune cookie?
We don't know.
If you eat this, you will die. That's like the worst fortune cookie you can get.
If you just ate that, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. I got to be honest, I'd rather murder Ruth than deal with these people that are complaining about their MREs.
Our turn.
The MREs are fine. Just eat them. Suck it up and eat them. All right.
Yeah, just a little bit of mold.
Yeah. Well, listen, mold, penicillin, it all comes from the same place. Just eat it. All right. Think of how resistant they will be to viruses after they eat all that mold. Uh-huh. People are asking, like, how long are we going to be down here? And we get the guy the guy they closed the door on that monologued in the last episode.
Oh,
He's
so
like,
good to see him back.
Back in year whatever, we were down here for 5 days. And just how everyone ignores him is just so good. So good.
Oh, his like tone too was like really great. Man, this actor, I loved him.
I loved him so much. The sheriff asked Patricia, "Hey, where's Loftus at? What's going on with Mayor Tom?" And Patricia, who happens to be the worst liar, was like, "I don't know where he is. I don't know," and like slowly backs out of the room. So good. The sheriff's not buying any of it.
Is it here or is it later where she's like walking out the door frame and then like turns slowly back to the sheriff?
No,
to,
that's
like,
where
I guess confess.
That's where Rosemary drops all the truth bombs, and no one took Rosemary aside and was like, "Hey, don't tell people about the genealogy and everything." I love that Rosemary just like, once again, blissful ignorance. She like chooses not to know. She's like, I did this whole genealogy. Those children huddled in the corner. I don't know what they were cooking up. And she just drops this on the sheriff. It's just so good. Oh,
she's the best.
In the meantime, we have the teenagers, which I'm really starting to hate PJ. Your thoughts on PJ? You at one point said he was your favorite character. You said you were going to change your kid's name to PJ to name him after this character from the show. You were so impressed with this teenager. Do you still love PJ, Tom?
No, when PJ got in that chair, they were going to like kind of fake strap him down. I was like, all right, great. Let's have PJ be the sacrifice. I was so sad to find out who it ultimately was.
That would be too satisfying. My spouse also apparently hates PJ, and she was like, oh, I was so happy when he got in the chair. I thought they were going to kill him. I was like, all right, well, we should have found out PJ or Ruth once again. Not Ruth, PJ or Kathy were the last descendant of Richard Warren, because there would have been a dozen volunteers to murder the two of them.
Hey, there's always season 2, man. Maybe they'll meet their demise in season 2.
You hope PJ and Kathy get it in season 2? Yeah, that would be great. Instead, we have Evan, PJ, and Kelly. We're going to call them the Hardy Boys and Girl. They find an escape hatch with a ladder downstairs. I gotta be honest, Tom, I'm not going further downstairs if I'm already in a basement. I will go up. I will ladder up. I will stair up. I won't ladder down. I won't stare down. Not when I'm already in a basement. That's what insane people do, and that's how you get murdered. So
it's true. These are dumb kids, and these dumb kids are expanding the story, which I'm all for.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The other guy that's expanding this story is our good friend Dale. Dale walks into, I want to call it like an armory room. There it says like check and clear your weapons, and then he ultimately finds some old film reels, which he feels in this moment is the right time to watch, which I give a lot of props to a guy with all that's going on. He's like, hey, I wonder what these old film reels are. I can't even say the word. Feel reels are. Those are a different type. Feel reels are something you're not allowed to show in public and theaters anymore.
So you watch in 6th grade.
Because Reagan's America came in and turned it all into schmut. Anyways, all right. I don't know. All right. It's been a long night. We have. I'm just gonna quote what this guy says on the feel reel. Dang it! I can't not say it now. All right. He says, "So you're an offering. This is an informational film about being sacrificed for the community."
Oh man, so you're an offering. Like you get pulled down for like a seminar and you got to listen to this was so great, and like just essentially saying accept your fate. And I love this because it just opens up a whole new dynamic to the island, that the island and the leaders of said island know about all the shenanigans going on and have a system in place to take care of it. And I don't know if it was Howard the Coward or some other mayor seemed to drop the ball and didn't give Tom the memo, because they've been dealing with this in a certain way that Tom is not.
I guarantee Tom just refused to read like the black binder that was left for him. He was just like, no, thank you. I know how to run an island. I do think it's beautiful how, and there's other properties that have done this. They use like the Cold War era, like film reel, informative movie to like tell you what terrible thing is happening. This is like, hey, hide under your desk, kids, if the Ruskies come after us. I find that time period and them using that in this such a wonderful way to do it. Like if you ever played BioShock, the video game, it has a lot of that kind of theme running through it. I believe we played that on N64, maybe. I don't know. Who can remember?
It was an Xbox, right? Yeah. Good game though. But yeah, I love it. I love the storytelling device. And for Dale to be the one to find it, I thought it was even better.
Oh, so good. So good. And we'll get to his reaction later, because no one's braver than Dale. Dale keeps it together. He's the hero that we need in this town right now. The other hero we need is Ruth, which we get to spend some time on tour with Ruth. So we first go up to, I guess, what is Evan's room, which makes more sense later. When we don't know that they're family, it's a little bit weird that she's made this room up for him, but they're telegraphing
but it's the
a little
idea,
bit.
Yeah, like Tom just keeps having Evan stay with her, like when he's got to do his mayor stuff or whatever. But yeah, the emergency ladder was great because we know he's been sneaking out a bunch. But
I loved it.
I feel like
he's very fire conscious, Tom. I think Evan's a smart young man. He's worried about fire. It makes sense.
I love how Ruth was, that's where her mind went, which was great and lovely. But like they linger on this car poster above his bed, and it made me think, like, is this the car that is in the calendar that Tom sees, like wrecked later on?
No, the wrecked car was like a Bronco. It was like a white SUV. No, I think this is just because it's one of the worst looking cars in the world, and Ruth being Ruth apparently just equates any car poster being cool. And this is like the Ford Taurus of Widow's Bay. I believe people have said about the Ford Taurus, it's the car you get when you've just given up. So that's how I took this. It wasn't a cool car. It was just like a picture of a sedan. And she's like, oh, my grandson Evan will think this is very cool. If I'm wrong on that, if there was a bigger Easter... No, Tom, I'm throwing shade at Ford Taurus. Don't try and defend them.
We probably have a subset of listeners that drive the lovely Ford Taurus, and no shade thrown at you, from my end at least.
When the ad break hits and you guys get an ad for the Ford Taurus, the 2026 Ford Taurus, all new with its rounded body. They call it like a shapely body. They're like, with the Ford Taurus's shapely and hefty body, we don't really care about aerodynamics. It's just got 4 wheels. The Ford Taurus. Welcome back, losers. Anyways, I've got some thoughts on the Ford Taurus, which is that I love them, and all of this has been a joke. Forgive me, Mr. Gerald Ford, the maker of Fords. I don't know. Let's go on. This is where she brings up... Gerald Ford was a president. Anyways, this is where she brings up, she's flipping through the pages, and I just, listen, I want to point out, Ruth was Widow's Bay... She won the beauty pageant. So it makes a lot of sense as she's flipping through all these pages and she goes, he made a pass. He made a pass. Kind of like dead baby, lesbian, like all of this. Just very good. But essentially,
I think she even clocks it later. She's like, oh, the reverend or something. Like, oh, he didn't make a wait, no, maybe he did make a pass. And then points to the lady. Points to the lady. Oh, she made a pass too. So like they got lesbian.
Yeah, the nun. She made a pass. Anyways, this is where we found out that Alfred, who was her beau, got bit by an animal, became an animal. So good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I'm assuming werewolf season 2 haunt. It's gonna happen.
Listen, all haunts are on the table on Widow's Bay. I love it. I love it so much. This was just so good. So good. We find out that Ruth's parents built this house. She's living in the house that she grew up in, which, good. I mean, at this point, she probably doesn't have a mortgage. She probably owns it outright. She's probably just paying property taxes, which probably a little bit rough on a island like Widow's Bay, but she doesn't have a mortgage. She's not, she's not in the 6%. She's not in the 4%. Anyways. She doesn't have mortgage insurance. Anyways, regardless. I love that we find out that Ruth's daddy got taken at the lake. Something got daddy at the lake, which is such a great phrase to not expand on.
Well, like, okay, we know there's a sea hag. Is there a lake hag? Is there a different body of water hag or creature? Again, season 2, baby.
Oh, I think a sea hag is body of water agnostic. I think they can operate in any. I mean, I think a pond, you're not safe. I think a swamp, you're not safe from a sea hag.
Oh, but then it'd be a water hag. This is a sea hag, bro. There are rules.
I don't know. So then they don't go in an ocean, Tom? I mean, what size body of water? How do they measure that?
No, oceans, seas, those are fair game. Like we saw the sea hag. No, then
it would be an ocean hag, Tom. Listen, if words mean things, words mean things. So let's stick to our guns here.
But sea and ocean are synonyms, my man.
Yeah. No, they are not. Anyways, I don't care. Let's move on. You know what I know they're not? They're not bays, Tom. And this is Widow's Bay, okay? Fair. And these are just things that we have to weather here in Widow's Bay, according to Ruth. I love that this then leads to the trolley problem. And Tom, what does Ruth associate with the trolley problem?
I love that this is just like the classic trolley problem, and instead of Ruth like understanding or knowing what this is, she's like, oh, you mean those 42 people that, when we built one, they all disappeared? Like her line of just, again, taking some haunted craziness that happened on the island and just trying to make sense of it, as opposed to it being this like moral dilemma, like philosophy style question, was poetry.
Yeah, I just want to point out, she says in 42. So the year 42, they tried to do a trolley and all the workers disappeared. So we don't know how many workers disappeared, but we knew it was World War II. These guys were trying to handle the trolley problem. They have a discussion, and I only wanted to point out the year, Tom, not to correct you, which I would never do, but to point out just how old Ruth is. And what she remembers, and how many haunts this woman has really lived through. She's seen some things.
She has.
And even though she's seen all these things, she wouldn't pull the lever. She's like, no, I wouldn't kill anyone. And I loved, Tom is a good mayor. He's a fine father. He was not a very good husband, but he's a terrible salesman. He's trying to sell Ruth into agreeing to give herself up for the island, and he's going about it in all the wrong ways. And I just appreciated how frustrated he's getting with Ruth not buying into the premise of, hey, maybe someone giving their life to save a bunch of people is not a bad thing. I enjoyed all of this.
Well, and again, Ruth's reaction, you hear the trolley problem and I'm like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. You have to pull the thing. But then Ruth makes a very poignant argument. Like, well, if you're doing it, you're making a conscious decision, which, I mean, again, that is the point of the trolley problem. But the way that she puts it is great. And it just frustrates. Watching Tom's face just get more and more frustrated as she just describes her perspective is lovely.
Right. And she's like, ultimately, you cannot control the bad things in your life. And this leads her not to turn to the good book for a quote, but to turn to the cross stitch on the wall, which she's got some incredible cross stitches all over the house. Tom, do you cross stitch?
I don't cross stitch, but there were written words on the screen, so I paused and I notated them all. So I'm going to read them for you.
I'm ready.
So this says, she reads like essentially the first line and the last line, and there's some stuff in between that I think is poignant to probably, well, I don't know. We'll read it and get your thoughts. So, the world is violent and mercurial. It will have its way with you. We are saved only by love for each other, and the love that we pour into the art, we feel compelled. And then it's kind of difficult to read, but it's more like being a parent, a writer, being a painter, being a friend. We live in perpetual burning building, and what we must save from it all, or from it all the time, is love. So again, she kind of just fills in the gaps. Like, she doesn't say the whole extra piece about love, but I love how that could be like the catalyst for destroying the haunt and the island or whatever else is kind of going on, is not constantly feeding it sacrifices, but feeding it love in some form or fashion.
Yeah, it's all gobbledygook. I don't care for it. I don't care for it at all. The solution being love, I don't care for it. Feed it bodies, you know? Feed it blood, feed it bodies. That's what the island craves. Get this wishy-wash stuff out of here. No, it is a lovely sentiment, and I appreciate you taking the time to point out, because since she didn't read it, I did not catch the, like, you know, what we love and what we pour our heart into, and the things that are important in terms of being a parent, making art, being a friend. You know, some of those things I could take or go without. It doesn't matter, but obviously the love thing is powerful to some people. I don't know. We're getting too close to feelings. Let's move on, you know?
Maybe the last season will be like a romantic comedy, and then that's how we solve the island horrors.
It's just going to be Brett Goldstein and J-Lo running around on Widow's Bay. Excited for that one. We are brought to you by Ford and also that Netflix rom-com that no one's watching. Anyways, we got Ruth. Ruth ultimately is like, hey, you just have to accept how terrible life is, which...
Yeah, I feel like this should be cross-stitched. Life is a house of horrors.
Oh, so good. I'd hang that one in the house. I would hang one in the house that says, life is a house of horrors. Is love the answer? ? No. Anyways, during this, so did you get the sense, and I think I did, and I think this is a compliment to Matthew Rhys and what he's doing in this character, but you get the sense in some of the questions he's asking and some of the family history stuff, and he even on the radio is like, hey, we're relying on Rosemary's genealogy. Like, I've got to murder this old woman because of Rosemary going through some transparencies. So he's like looking for a way out. He's doubting whether or not she's truly Richard Warren's descendant. And then the brooch shows up. And I thought this was like a great, like, kind of punch to the gut in terms of, oh, like, she's got the heirloom.
No doubt.
She's a Warren. There's no doubt. In this moment where he's trying to wiggle his way out of it, truly there's evidence that she's the one he's got to kill. I thought this was very brilliant.
Yeah, but this whole sequence is all brutal because like this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. He realizes, okay, I've got to go through with it. He goes and gets the tea when the timer goes off. He's crushing up the drugs, putting it in hers, and then we even slow fade before we go back to the bunker of her taking that sip of the tea. And you kind of hope that there's going to be something that happens or part of their conversation where she's not going to drink it, but she drinks, and it's like, oh no! Like, I think I gasped as I watched that sequence.
One of the dozen times we thought Ruth died during this episode. You know, it was extremely well done, and the way they fade out, and I don't know, it just, I appreciated how they did it. I did not know where they were going to go. You know, you hope Tom's not a murderer, but you know, you kind of see his point. You're not going to be able to love your way out of this one, you know? So sometimes murder's the answer, Tom. We at Team Binge, we've said that dozens of times, I think.
Yeah. Go to our merch store. You'll find those shirts. Sometimes murder is the answer.
That's a TeePublic. You can get a Team Binge t-shirt. Sometimes murder's the answer. All right. We cut back. We've got Patricia passing out the MREs in the water. People are getting upset. Now, I think we had this conversation. Like, some of these people are tourists, some of these people are townspeople, right? And that's why we've discovered we're a little bit short on food and water, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I think we're underpopulated in that department.
Overpopulated, underpopulated in the food. Yes, that's correct.
Exactly.
And so they are trying to calm this unruly crowd. I love that we didn't get a lot of Wick in this episode, which is one of my favorite characters in the show. I was a little bit disappointed, but he does get on a chair at this point, and he's like, hey, everyone calm down. I'm going to throw you in the chair and down the hatch. And they're like, what was that? And he's like, oh, nothing. Everything's cool here. Just eat your MRE. I hope it doesn't have mold on it.
There's some interesting things like theory crafting online of like Wick being kind of more than meets the eye, and maybe he was like trying to manipulate things as a means to kind of keep the haunt stuff going. So it was interesting we didn't get a lot of in this episode, and maybe we'll get more backstory, I would imagine, in season 2.
Sure. I would argue that all of the people that needed to be clued in on this was Kenny, the guy that like cleans everything. He probably went down to the basement to empty a wastebasket every once in a while, and shame on him for not doing some exploring. But we'll get to him later. Quick cut of Sheriff Bashir and his wife, and she's like trying to comfort him. And I always think this is such like. It's true to life. It's like she is 9 months pregnant, or at least approaching 9 months pregnant. He should be comforting her in this moment, and she is like clearly like, "Hey, man, like it's gonna be okay. We'll laugh about this later." Like her strength is great in this moment, and and I guess part of it is him realizing what's happening on this island and not sharing it with her.
Right.
But I appreciated how great she was in this moment, being like, hey, I'm the one that's about to have a baby. Like, why am I comforting you?
Yes.
It was good.
Yeah.
We've got Rosemary accidentally dropping the bomb on the sheriff because he's now looking for Mayor Tom Loftus. And we find out that, she's like, listen, I did a genealogy. We talked about it a little bit earlier. This is where she drops the truth bomb on him.
Yeah, Patricia does the slow turn to the doorframe, which again I clocked and laughed. It was lovely.
Yeah, he asks her a question. She tries to sneak out of the room. Once again, this is a TV showism. You expect a commercial break or credits to roll, but instead it's real life, and you have to continue to have the conversation. And ultimately, she lets the sheriff know what Tom's doing, and the sheriff takes off. I did appreciate him telling the doctor, like, barricade the door, don't let anyone in here. I wasn't quite sure what he was afraid of, but I appreciate him wanting to protect his very pregnant wife. We then go back to Tom and Ruth, and I thought this was incredibly shot. I thought this was incredibly acted, because we have this close-up of Matt Rhys and Tom, and he's watching her after he's drugged her, and he's like essentially waiting for her to die, which is just like terrible. And he starts to like confess, essentially like, hey, when Lauren died, like I didn't know what to do. When she was alive, she tried to tell me about the island. I didn't believe her. And then after the stroke, I started to believe her. And he's like having this moment of confession, and the camera is so tight on his face, and he's not looking at Ruth. And I was like, if he looks up and Ruth is right in his face as some sort of like weird evil zombie, I was like, please show don't do it, because I will wet myself because I am a coward. But just there's so much suspense and like stress in this, as well as like the heartbreaking of Tom, who obviously has not shared much about her death, Lauren's death, and him going through, and then him being like, listen, I was so selfish to want to bring people here. I did it for Evan. I did it for me. But now, even though I knew what this island was doing, I brought all these people out here. And I just, like, nothing happens here. But it's just so stressful and just so well done that I really appreciated this scene.
Well, I think so much does. Like, with Matthew in this, it is like he's putting the weight of all of this on him and the people that he now has put in harm's way, and him thinking that him taking out Ruth or whatever is going to kind of solve this is all just brutal. And like I kind of clocked it. Like I didn't know what Ruth's fate was going to be, but I feel like I knew it wasn't happening right here. Like when he got close to her and then tried to, I guess, take her pulse, then she kind of wakes up. I'm like, there's no way just one sip of tea is going to take out Ruth. She's too strong.
She's too sprightly. I mean, she's running those stairs up and down. Her and Deirdre, you know, they're running those stairs. Yeah, I mean, was that the only jump? I think that was like the jump scare. The jump scare of the episode was Ruth waking up from a very short nap. I love what the show does. Oh, we go from terrifying to more terrifying. PJ, Evan, and Kelly, they find the chair and the hatch, and they're playing around with it. I'm not playing around in a murder room, Tom. I want to be on record. Not my jam.
Yeah. This is very clearly a murder room, and they make mention of, like, again, we don't think this was an electric chair. This is essentially just like the chair that's offering probably one of these sacrifices, and they made mention of like some sort of contraption to keep the eyelids open. And then I think even later, like when they're going back to the films, they're like, oh, it likes fear, it likes the taste. So I'm wondering if, whatever the manifestation of the island or this demon or something lives down in this basement, and it wants to have its victims see it or something, because that was a super creepy detail.
Yeah, no, it doesn't want someone docile with their eyes closed. It wants wide-eyed screaming as it devours it through the hatch. Yes, that's what I gather as well. These kids, just poor choices all around. I did not care for it. But as Patricia and Wick and them are trying to control this crowd, someone is messing with a radio, which, not the time, bro. Like, just leave the electronics alone, especially the, 1940s radio. And then, all of a sudden, over the loudspeaker, it says, "It's time. It's time. It's time. Listen to your facilitator. Do not beg." I was like, "Oh no, sir. I no thank you. I am against this wholeheartedly."
So is the idea here of like this basement bunker area is like the holding room for all these would-be sacrifices, and they've got to stay here and for a certain amount of time, and then this radio goes on and says, hey, you got to go down to the room to be officially sacrificed?
Based on the video and based on what the loudspeaker says, I'm assuming the sacrifices are chosen. They're in the doctor's waiting room, which we've all been in, although this one's a little bit different. And then there's a facilitator, so there's someone else down there that's guiding them. And once again, based on that video, they were like hood overhead, bound, and then someone is like leading them to where they need to go. So yes, this was like murder waiting room, no, sacrifice waiting room A, prior to going to the murder room, which is Evan is in. But yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, someone else was involved in order to usher these people to their deaths rather than just it being an automated system, which I know we are hoping as humans to get to automated death rooms, but it still takes a human touch at this point. So, yeah. Okay. I just want to point out the best joke of the whole episode was when this loudspeaker comes on. This is when Rosemary goes, "Oh, that's why she said not to come down here." Just, I mean, so incredible.
Absolutely brilliant. I loved it.
Loved every moment of it. And then we're back with Dale watching those videos. And do want to point out in this video, the bell, which is played a part in this show throughout, we get the little detail that it's one life for every bell toll.
So I imagine this is important with the whole bell tolling, right? Because we know we got it earlier in the season, and I wonder if we went back and clocked how many tolls said bell tolled, and we look back at other characters that had passed in the episode, like, does it match up? As I'm assuming it would, and that's just brilliant storytelling.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is a sacrifice thing, so I think the real reason they give us this is for that last scene in the episode leading
but we
to
know in this season
2.
Yeah, but like in this season we know that people were killed, right? Like the Mike Miles style character killed like the paramedic or the gas station attendant, so we know there were murders done by the haunts. So if we went back and looked at, maybe there were 5 bell tolls or something for this haunt, maybe it would match up with the deaths that we actually experienced as an audience this season.
That's fair. Tom, I'm going to use a phrase that I've never used before in my life. That's not our job. We're podcasters, so we're not going to go back and do that research in math. That job is for Reddit. So those Reddit people can figure out whether or not the bell tolling and the body count in previous episodes matches up. I guess I would be... I don't know. It would be nice if it was that clean, but I think the main reason they do it is for the end of this episode. And I love that the island loves dead people, you know?
Yeah, it's just like the kid from Sixth Sense, loves dead people.
I don't think that's his phrase, Tom. I think that's what he is. He's like, I touch dead people. And Bruce Willis is like, you're going to need therapy, kid. Anyways, and Bruce Willis is like, I'm the right person to give it to you. All right, Dale continues to watch these videos, which leads to the lights then going out, everyone screaming, Patricia doing some unfortunate flashlight placement, which not how you comfort people, but listen.
So funny.
Patricia's doing a great job. I have no criticism of Patricia. I've loved her in every episode. Just hold the flashlight different. I was a little bit afraid when she was scanning the crowd with the flashlight. There was going to be a boogeyman-esque in the background. But instead, the boogeyman is not a haunt or a spirit, Tom. The boogeyman's in each of us, you know?
Ooh,
and
interesting.
In each of us, and specifically in Dale, who comes out and is like, this place is a death trap! Run! I love this so much.
This is the origin of the card game Run, apparently.
Well, at one point she sends Dale like, hey, go get some things to distract people. And I was like, oh, we're definitely bringing out Teeth and Run and Daddy's Home. Like, I was so excited.
Yeah, he ultimately does bring out the game Run. It's just a different variation.
Different variation. He's like, we're going to play Run, no cards on this one, all right? Here we go. All right. And then it's cut to Tom very sadly trying to talk to Patricia. And he's just like, hey, is Evan okay? Tell me Evan's okay. They're screaming on the radio. And very calmly, Tom's like, it's pillow time. And I was like, well, for the old lady, that pillow is either he's going to put it behind her head so she naps very gently, or he's going to put it over her head so she naps very deeply.
Yeah, very unkind.
What's that?
I said one was kind and the other was unkind.
Well, it depends on how much you like deep sleep, I guess. But Ruth comes to life again. And we find out Ruth can't be stopped. Can't be stopped by pills, can't be stopped by a bullet, can't be stopped by steps, can't be stopped by a nap.
Is Ruth the demon? Who knows?
Ruth should have been the boogeyman. I mean, Ruth is unstoppable.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like season 5, we find out she is the demon, that she's been pushing everything forward. That's great.
I was afraid that we were going to give her an evil turn, but instead we just get a little bit more backstory, which is that we find out Ruth had an affair with a married man, had to give up the daughter, and that married man and his wife raised her, and that person turned out to be, dun dun dun, Lauren, who was Tom's wife, and it's very beautiful. Ruth's like, I got to watch her fall in love with you, Tom. And I was like, oh no. So what that means for Evan and Tom. And I loved this. I loved what they did here because we all went into the Pentultimate and Evan was like one of the top 3, you know, if not the top one of, hey, this had to be a descendant. They gave us Ruth and then they gave us this. And they give us the moral quandary that Tom is now in. And I just, was it predictable? Maybe. But I really liked what they did here.
But I thought this was such a great callback to like the letters that Lauren had written for Evan, right? Where it's like you have 2 moms, one real mom and one secret mom. And then Ruth that calls out like, oh, I was her secret mommy kind of a thing. Like a brilliant callback and I think a fun little Easter egg to be able to give us this idea of it ultimately being Evan that is the last heir.
Right. And those were when she visited Lauren in the one home. And so those creepy letters that Evan continues to read despite not like being able to read the room if no one wants to listen to Evan read those letters. It all comes back to this, which was great. And then also Ruth being like, hey, why do you think, she's like, I'm 100 years old. Why do you think I'm coming to work? It's so that I get a chance to like hang out with my grandson. It's great. And so I appreciated that a lot.
I like the confession at the end that the pull-out method just doesn't work. Hearing that from Ruth was so great.
Yeah, that was a lot. Once again, clean podcast for kids, Tom, but it's fine. Ask your parents, children. This all leads to a lovely hug, and it's a very lovely hug. And Tom's like getting in there, almost like, he's remembering Lauren in this moment because there is obviously some familiarity between Ruth and Lauren, but no, the sheriff shows up and shoots. And this is like a scene from The Departed. You're like, wait, what? What just happened? And
this was so brutal. Like, I know I said I gasped earlier, but man, this part just like tore me apart. And I was like, at my hands to my face. I'm like, oh goodness, I can't believe this. But we don't know the lengths of where Bashir was going to go with this, and man, he took it to 11.
Well, here's what I think happened, Tom. We commented on his shotgunning against the boogeyman in that episode, and just what a failure he was. He swore to himself he was never going to hesitate again, and so now sheriff goes right for his gun. He shoots first and asks questions later, and the question he asks is, was she the last descendant? And the question Tom shouts is, she was not the last descendant. You shot the wrong person. And ultimately, they get into a little bit of a standoff where Bashir is like, hey, who is the last descendant? And Tom, not wanting to obviously out his son, is like, I don't know. I don't care. And then one of them jumps out of a storm drain from a dam that's like 100 feet high. That's from The Fugitive, Tom. He's like, I don't know.
So like this just turns up another gear. Like you think Bashir shooting Ruth is one thing, but then he turns the gun on Tom of like, hey, tell me who it is. Like, man, it just got more and more brutal as the scene goes on.
Right. And I mean, we'll talk through it in a bit, but the quick cut here is we go back to murder room. The kids are messing around. Kenny comes in and he like kicks him out of the room, and PJ being PJ, just like, what a jokester, this PJ, then locks Kenny in, and Kenny gets murdered by the island, which Evan has to listen to. And I did not appreciate any of this. But I guess the thought here is that then the island is satiated? Is that correct?
I think that's it, man. I think Kenny got it dirty here. Didn't love this. Didn't like he was the fact that he was a sacrificial lamb. But yeah, everybody ultimately thinks that it was Ruth that got dispatched of. But hopefully, seemed like Ruth maybe got grazed, so maybe she'll be okay and alive in next season.
I want to talk about that. So this show didn't have the guts to murder this old woman, essentially. You know? Like,
yeah.
They have this moment, and I guess then we get into like a different type of show, because if Bashir wrongfully murders Ruth, then we've got like a season 1 of Friday Night Lights where the kids accidentally murder a guy. Anyways, I know you didn't watch that show, but
I didn't.
We get like 2 people that have a murder on their hands that was not justified, and it's a little bit of a different show. I don't know that I appreciated the cop-out of, they just, like, grazed her head and she seemed fine. Like, if she actually was dead, they wouldn't have had her, like, come to and talk to Tom and him being like, we need to get her to a doctor, but a better doctor than the one that's in the shelter because he's terrible. I don't know that I liked... Although, I guess Ruth is just invincible. She can't be drugged. She can't be shot. But that was.
Did she take mushrooms? We don't know. But I'm with you. It does kind of take the emotional weight out of this sequence. I mean, like, nobody wants to obviously see Ruth die, but yeah, it does become a bit of a kind of a cop out.
Right. But then Kenny, we're good with him just getting blindly murdered in a murder room, and I think Evan's going to be a little bit changed. I know that he's smiling in the car while he watches his dad throw a family heirloom into the ocean or sea, because it's a sea hag, Tom, not an ocean hag. But I loved how they did this, where it's like Bashir shoots an old woman, the storm stops, and so now from a character perspective, like from an audience, we kind of understand, but from a character perspective, if you're putting yourself in their shoes, like they think they might have solved this just by, I guess, giving Ruth a little bit of a concussion with a 9 mil. I don't know, like what happened here, but the storm definitely stops. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then we get that quick cut of Evan going to the sacrificial room, seeing that, Kenny's been dispatched, and like that door being ajar. It's the first time we've actually seen that like sacrificial door being open. So very, very interested to see what ultimately comes of that. And then I found it interesting that Tom does throw away the brooch. Like, do they feel like that's incriminating evidence, I guess? They needed to get rid of it? I don't understand the significance of it.
Well, I think that was the hard evidence that brought him to the conclusion that he should murder Ruth. And so if he gets rid of it, now that it is tied to Evan, he is trying to, at this point, his motivation has always been, how do I keep Evan safe? And so getting rid of the brooch, maybe he has some conversations with Ruth, who is definitely concussed and probably isn't going to remember this night because she got drugged and shot in the head. And so he's just trying to save Evan. So I understand why he did it. I probably would have pawned it if it was me. Maybe gotten a few bucks, bought some drugs with it, whatever, some mushrooms, doesn't matter. All of this, like, the sun is rising, and what tolls, Tom? What tolls in the background as we end?
The bell that's been chained up for seemingly centuries, who knows how long, tolls, and it tolls 8 times. So the assumption is we're going to have to get 8 sacrifices next season, and I mean, just a brilliant ending for the season. I loved it.
Oh, it was great. It was great. The island's hungry. Kenny shared a little. Kenny's like, "Oh, the island's got a full belly, huh?" And then he got murdered. But listen. I enjoyed the season of television. It was strongly written. They hit a bunch of stuff, and they did a very good job of wrapping up season 1, leading us into season 2. I think you could ask for 2 things, as I said at the beginning. It's like, if you want to wrap it up in one season, they could have wrapped it up in a tight bow, but they got renewed. There's more mystery. There's more, I want to spend more time with these characters. So I'm cool with them not solving this, although how they're going to solve it, knowing that Evan's life is the one that, truly is on the line now, I'll be interested in. So, I mean, bravo to the people that write and act in this show. They did a wonderful job.
But yeah, man, I loved every second of this season. I love the way they ended it, and I can't wait for more.
Yeah, excited for season 2. For those of you that have joined us on this ride, we appreciate you. We appreciate the people that have emailed us. Big shout out this week to Alex L. It was good to hear from you. We are a small podcast. For those of you that enjoy us, we're going to do other shows. We have a back catalog. Please give those a go. But it would mean a lot to us if you would spend some time, write a review on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars there, as well as if you listen on Spotify. It's pretty simple. Just hit the follow as well as the 5 stars on that. We would very much appreciate it. If you've got comments or you watch this season and you want to touch on things that we have not touched on yet, we will probably do a wrap-up pod on this show, and we'd love to get questions from you or comments. So you can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. If you're looking for us on Twitter or Reddit or those, just search us up at Team Binge. But we very much appreciate the support and the audience that we have had with this show, and it's just a fun show to talk about with people. So with that, I have been Julian for Team Binge.
And I have been Tom. Till next season, everybody.